Give me $100 million and 10 years, and I believe I could get a team together to formalize a proof of Fermat's last theorem. No mathematician I have met disputes this. Currently prohibitively expensive. Professor Kevin Bazard. Every valid logical expression is provable. Equivalently, every logical expression is either satisfiable or refutable. Professor Kurt Gödel. Stupidity. The condition of being stupid. Its symptoms are as follows. 1, rigidity of thought. 2, denial of facts. 3, inflated feeling of self-righteousness. 4, lack of insight. 5, intellectual inflexibility. If left untreated, the consequences can be serious. This condition is known to produce irrational patterns of thought and behavior that are annoying, baffling, and even dangerous. There is no known cure for stupidity. It strikes without warning. Its incubation period varies, depending on the virulence of the infection. Its prevalence is worldwide, and every person on the planet is susceptible to contracting it. Phillip W. Weiss, A Short History of Stupidity, 2015. Scene 1. Time, the present. Place, a room at the Redbourne State Institution for Advanced Biomathematical Studies. 2 men and a woman are engaged in an animated discussion. Their names are Gloria Verdonsky, Simon Wallington, and Robert Van Gasslinger. All 3 are professors of biomathematics. No way. Simply out of the question.
The results are irrefutable.
Nothing is irrefutable.
This is...
Pure rubbish. All of it.
Our methodology was beyond reproach. You know that because you designed the study.
Oh, you need not remind me of that.
My dear professor, you cannot deny it. It was your program that led to this astounding discovery.
And which will make me the laughingstock of the university and maybe the entire biomathematical community.
Nobody is laughing.
Well, I'm certainly not laughing.
Oh, stop trying to be so nice.
It's not a question of being nice. It's about giving credit where credit is due.
But I don't want credit for producing what is junk.
Maybe it's junk to you, but to me, it's a discovery so profound that it can change the world.
I don't know what world you are living in, but it sure isn't mine.
How can you quibble over such trivialities at a time like this?
It's not a triviality, as you put it. Knowing that you are where you think you are has its uses too.
I know where I am. Do you?
I am here. Where else would I be?
You can be somewhere else and not even know it.
And I can be the king of Bulgaria and not know that either. What's your point?
Don't ask me. Ask her. She brought up the subject.
Listen to yourselves. You sound like 2 little kids bickering over a toy.
I'm okay with that. Kids are honest.
So what you're saying is we're not honest? That's no way to think of your friends.
What makes you think we're friends?
Of course we're friends. We are spending time together.
Trying to figure out what to do with the idiotic garbage that I discovered.
It's not idiotic, it's brilliant. The board will love it.
The board will hate it, just as I hate it. Defies all logic.
It does not. It makes perfect sense.
Maybe to you it does, but that doesn't surprise me. You're the one who spent 18 years trying to prove that pigs in fact can fly.
And I proved it.
Simon, please, you know how that became a farce.
After all those years, you still don't believe me?
That's because there is nothing to believe.
And that's because you refused to accept my evidence, which was irrefutable.
I sat on the board that reviewed your findings, and frankly, we couldn't stop laughing.
I found it sad how they mocked you.
That's because they had closed minds that refused to listen to the truth.
No, that wasn't it all. Our minds were quite open. It was the research that was flawed.
Oh, how could you say that? I conducted 27 double-blind studies that proved beyond all doubt that pigs could fly.
I read somewhere that your experiments, as you call them, were conducted under less than purely scientific conditions.
That's putting it mildly.
My methodology was beyond reproach. I still remember the first moment when I achieved its success.
Unverified, of course.
Well, I repeated it 26 times, each time with the same results. I was elated.
I bet you were.
What got you started in this line of research?
Well, I grew up on a farm in central Nebraska. My parents raised hogs. So for the earliest times I can remember, I was around pigs. I learned to love everything about them. The smell, the squeals, the love of life and love for each other. My first friend, after all, was a pig. I named him Ernie.
You were friends with a pig named Ernie. Oh, how nice. What did the two of you do?
Well, we used to run and jump and play. It was such fun. Much better than playing with the humans, who I found obnoxious.
So you see, the idea of 1 + 1 being 3 is not so preposterous.
Robert, do you know what you're saying?
I know exactly what I'm saying.
It flies in the face of all logic.
No more so than saying that pigs can fly.
I can attest to that.
No, you can't, because it's physically impossible.
You do have a closed mind.
Science is all about making new discoveries.
Based on verifiable evidence and rigorous testing.
Well, I conducted at least 47 experiments that proved conclusively that pigs can fly.
Show me your published results.
Oh, you have some nerve doubting me. Remember, I am a full professor of biomathematics.
So what? Where are your findings?
Well, they were published in the Journal of Scientific Discoveries, published quarterly at Kwan Cup University, People's Republic of South Zanzibar.
A university with an impeccable reputation for academic excellence is rated 5 stars by the International Association of Scholastic Institutions.
And no stars by me.
Your anger baffles me. You make an astounding discovery, and now you ridicule us for expressing our congratulations and support.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, we do. Your discovery will change the way we relate to the world and to each other. It will have the most profound effect on every facet of human life.
You're making a huge mountain out of a tiny molehill.
No, the mountain is real, and together we will climb it to the top, and to fame and success.
End of scene 1. Scene 2. The next day. Place, a room at Radbourne State Institution. Seated around a table are 3 people. Professors Clarence Rathington, Elmer Pazolinski, and Rosanna Weinstock Malloy. They are engaged in a lively discussion.
No way! It is impossible! I refuse to believe it!
This is what I heard.
You must have heard it wrong.
Excuse me? Are you accusing me of not hearing things right?
Nobody is accusing you of anything.
Clarence did just that.
Because you are spreading a rumor. Nothing but a malicious lie to make the university look bad.
Why would I want to do that?
Because you hate this place.
Wait a minute, Clarence. I think you're going a bit too far.
Oh, am I? She concocts a crazy story about some cockamamie new discovery, and now wants us to believe it.
What did you want me to do? Not tell you? Aren't we colleagues?
Yes, we are colleagues.
But not for the dissemination of bunk.
Look, Clarence, none of us like what the biomathematical department is up to, but there's no need to fly off the handle and make reckless accusations.
Aren't you friends with Professor Verdonsky?
Yes, I am. So what?
So there! You're in on this conspiracy to make us look like fools. Admit it.
That is absolutely untrue. My first loyalty is to the Department of Molecular Philosophy, of which I am the deputy chair.
and of which I am the chair and Elmer the vice chair.
It's important that we all stick together during this crisis.
And nerve them to try to run stages. For years we've been working on this exact same project. And now, if you believe Rosanna, we will become the laughing stocks of the world.
Our propositional theory that supported our hypothesis was sound, and still is.
Actually, we can claim to have made the discovery first.
3 years ago, we demonstrated that combining two constants can produce more than one result. We proved it, and now the biomathematics will get all the credit.
You mean I proved?
No, I mean we proved it.
The work product that my research generated was entirely mine.
Yes, it was. However, I provided consultative oversight.
And I provide the administrative support necessary to allow you to do your work. Hence, while you may have done much of the hands-on work, it was still a team effort for which we all deserve credit.
That is unfair. I did the work and so must be given the credit.
Such ingratitude.
Ingratitude, nothing. I'm talking about fairness.
I am being fair. The initial proposal was a product of a collaborative effort.
I first proposed the study.
In that you are mistaken. I first raised the subject. It was at Olivia's Bar and Grill on Dempsey Street. We were having a couple of scotch and water.
That I paid for.
After which I expressed my deepest thanks and appreciation when I first told you about my interest in trying to introduce new rules of logic.
I also remember that you had a lot to drink and was very drunk.
I was not. My thinking then, as well as now, was as clear as a bell.
Yes, a broken bell.
Can you gentlemen please settle this dispute later? I'm more concerned with what's happening now and not with who was drunk and who paid the bill.
It's important to get the record straight.
But not when it's coming from a broken record player.
Are you calling me broken?
No, just the record player.
What record player? What are you guys talking
I
about?
was using metaphors to try to make a point. Apparently it went over everyone's heads.
When you keep on talking like this, and I'll do an audit of your funding,
All of which was approved by you.
and which I can disprove. I disapprove too, if you don't watch it.
You know, Clarence, sometimes you're such a pumpkin head. He's been threatening to cut my funding for the past 19 years.
Well, you're lucky that you're married to my sister.
You're lucky to have me for a brother-in-law.
I still think the Jets' code game was fixed.
You still haven't forgiven me for winning that bet?
Gentlemen, can we please get back to discussing the business at hand?
Yes, it is an injustice.
Remember how we were told that it is not the business of molecular philosophy to meddle in such matters, and we should stick to teaching about morality and ethics and all that other stuff, and leave the real research to others much more qualified than us.
Yes, I do.
I do too. Such insults. I was outraged.
If you were, you never showed it.
I'm not as open as you when it comes to showing my emotions.
Well, you certainly are a cool one, as cool as a cucumber, and just as moist if bitten by the right person.
Professor! I resent such sexist remarks.
Resent them all you want. They're still true.
How would you know?
Clarence, let's drop this subject.
No, let's not. For years I've been doing the heavy lifting for this department, but still have not been promoted.
That's because the two senior chairs are currently occupied.
No, it's because this department has a glass ceiling for women.
You see, Elmer, what I mean? She concocts stories, and you think your friends in biomathematics would treat you better?
Yeah, I think they would.
Well, if you don't like it here, then put in for a transfer. I'm worthless.
Let's not be too hasty. We need you, Rosanna.
Elmer, I've always had the utmost respect for you. Even after that incident 5 years ago at the restaurant?
Must you bring that up again? So he touched you here and there, so what?
You know I meant no harm or disrespect.
I didn't know that at the
But
time.
it was just an innocent touch on the shoulder while I was walking behind your chair to get to the men's room.
Who said you couldn't touch me? You said you wanted to meet me to discuss some new theories.
I did, but...
But nothing. You used it as an excuse to come on to me. I felt very demeaned.
You should have reported this matter to me.
That would have been like reporting a bomb to the bomb maker.
Rubbish! I would have brought Elmer up on charges.
And Elmer would have made my life into hell. He was my supervisor.
I would never use my official position for personal purposes. And never did.
That's because I never gave you the chance. And because I happen to have recorded the entire affair, as you now know.
Is that why you stayed on? Because you had something on me?
No. It's because I believed in your work in proto-philosophical transformations. In fact, that is why I admired you.
Admired? As in past tense?
Yes. Because now I don't know what to think. 3 years ago, we were so close to proving the 1+1 continuum, but you were afraid to pursue your research to its logical conclusion. At that point, I began losing respect for you. And now, another department will get all the glory.
Gee, I wonder if the biomath had received any outside help.
Once again, Clarence.
Call me Professor.
Oh my, now we are really being touchy.
But touchy is the last thing I want to be, especially with you.
Whatever you say, Professor. Perhaps we should be more formal with each other. However, as I was saying, you have no cause to suspect me of doing anything underhanded.
There you go again, talking about hands. My dear.
Professor, if you please, call me Professor.
Excuse me, Professor.
That's better. Now, you may continue.
Thank you. Now, what was I saying?
You were talking about the biomath department having received outside help.
Oh, yes. Thank you for reminding me. No way a bunch of brainless clods in biomath could have come up with that solution by themselves.
Why do you say that?
Because it's true. They're just a bunch of silly nincompoops masquerading as academics.
Meanwhile, those nincompoops beat us to the punch on what was our flagship project.
Well, this isn't finished yet. Have either one of you had a chance to review their findings?
I have.
And
what?
so, what did you think of it?
I thought they did a great job of proving their theorem.
We knew for years that one could equal something other than 2.
And knowing it and proving it are two different things.
I proved it, but Clarence, Professor Rappington, refused to certify my findings.
Because it was complete poppycock. Your reasoning was unsound, your methodology flawed, and your findings therefore invalid.
No, it was because you wanted to take full credit for it. You yourself told me that.
I did not. And stop attributing things to me when I did not say. There is no way I would ever want to take credit for that mountain of rubbish you so brazenly dumped on my desk.
Not rubbish. 8,700 pages of carefully collected and collated scientific evidence that fully supported my findings.
How did you expect me to read all that?
Because that's your job.
Don't tell me my job. That's your problem. You're too darn bossy.
Come on now, Clarence. No need to get personal.
I can't help it. She marched into my office unannounced with large boxes crammed with notes, deposits them right at my desk, and then leaves without so much as an explanation.
I did give you an explanation.
Hi, Clarence. Here's my paper on my My research project is not an explanation.
That's because you were too lazy to look at my findings is no excuse for not having read them.
I glanced at a few pages and what I read was so dumb that I couldn't stop laughing. A 10-year-old child could do a better job.
Oh, come on now, Clarence. Aren't you being a bit too harsh on our colleague? After all, what do you expect from the junior member of the department?
I don't need to hear you two gentlemen trying to tear me down. I'm going to take this matter to the full committee. This discovery is mine. I am the first to prove that 1 + 1 does equal 3. In this I shall prevail. End of scene 2. Scene 3, the next day. Place, the Office of Department of Educational and Intellectual Truth, Radbourne State Institution. Seated around a table are Professors Egbert Yaroslavsky, Diana Televisi, and Hyman Dingelhuber.
I hear some talk around the campus about some new discovery. Have any of you heard anything?
I heard something too, something about some big breakthrough. It's just talk, though.
I haven't heard anything.
Well, where the smoke there's fire. I don't want to be caught flat-footed if the cat is out of the bag before we know it.
Yes, we can't be too vigilant. We have some very flaky characters teaching at this campus. They're liable to come up with anything.
Nothing's wrong with a little innovation now and then.
Well, there's a difference between innovation and deceit. I don't mind innovation if it's legitimate, and all too often you'll have some wacko professor try to pass off some idiotic piece of garbage as some new earthquaking discovery driven by the desire to either make a quick buck or score political points.
No surprise there. Remember what happened 5 years ago at Corkington University when some hustler masquerading as a professor of physics announced that he had discovered a new isotope of uranium that did not produce radiation? Before you knew it, the government was offering this guy $1 billion for the rights to his discovery. The scandal almost put the university out of business.
Not to mention what happened to the president of the school. He was run out of town. I don't want that to happen here.
I don't either. But we can't put a lid on research either. Right now, I'm involved in some serious research involving a number of sensitive subjects.
I don't consider the relevancy of home economics courses in today's college curriculum to be a particularly sensitive or controversial subject.
Try telling that to today's woman.
Why to women?
Because even in today's modern society, women are still expected to cook and clean and do the shopping and care for the kids.
What's wrong with that? My wife is okay with it. She runs the house.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
About my wife running the house?
No, about how you presume that it is the role of the woman to do housework based solely on their gender.
What of it? Somebody has to be home to take care of the home. Women are best equipped to do that.
I agree with that. A woman's touch is always needed to keep a home in order.
Where are you guys coming from?
Don't call me Guy.
Oh.
Remember, I'm the department chair and authorize your research grant.
Look, I'm sorry, but your comments stunned me.
Will get unstunned. This department will never condone or provide a safe haven for any irresponsible thoughts that are meant to incite or cause confusion or sow doubt.
I didn't say anything that is irresponsible. I was just informing you of my rejection to what you had said. Why are you getting so bent out of shape? We're just talking, exchanging thoughts.
Well, our system of values is under attack. If we do not act now to weed out all the crackpot and degenerate ideas in civil circulation, then our way of life will end, and we will join the long list of civilizations that once flourished but are now extinct. Do you want to become an item in a museum, like the Hittites and ancient Egyptians?
Now you're becoming hysterical.
Not hysterical. Concerned. Concerned for our future as a species. So many things out there meant to drive people crazy. Like the rumor or story about 1 and 1 equaling 3.
Who would ever buy that?
You?
He?
Yes, you. Any man who still believes that a woman's place is in the home is capable of believing anything.
Young lady.
That's Professor.
To me, you're a young lady.
Stop defining who I am.
I'm just trying to be polite.
No, you're being sexist and patronizing.
But it was I who helped you join our department.
That was pure business. Did you have something else in mind?
My, what have I done to offend you? What have I done to set her off like this?
Don't ask him. Ask me.
I did ask you, but you didn't reply.
You didn't give me a chance to
I
reply.
thought we were friends.
No, we're colleagues. And I find your comments offensive.
Because I called you a young lady? I failed to find how that could upset you. In fact, it's the truth. You are young. You are a lady, aren't you?
You see, you're continuing to define me based solely on my gender. Your intellectual rigidity and irrational prejudice, especially in this day and age, astounds me.
I remember growing up and watching my little sister play house and my older brother play cops and robbers. Nobody took offense. Nobody forced them to play those games. They did it on their own.
So, based solely upon that, you can draw conclusions about gender roles?
Well, that's the problem with research. None of it is really objective.
Mine is,
Coming from you, that statement is self-serving.
but it's the truth.
What is the truth?
Something which is based on facts.
Not when those facts are selectively compiled.
You know, all you brainiacs are alike, always nitpicking with each one trying to upstage the other. You think you know so much when you know nothing.
Oh my, aren't we the touchy one?
Oh, don't be such a sourpuss. We're just talking.
You mean like when they were talking, when that sleazeball at Yardley announced that he discovered the formula that proves that a square is actually a circle?
I thought it was a brilliant discovery.
Just shows how much of a dope you are.
You know, Edward, I could take offense at that remark.
And do so.
I read about that in the Journal of Advanced Subnuclear Mathematics. According to the article, it took a team of scientists at Yardley, financed by a $2 billion grant from the National Mathematics Foundation, 14 years to develop the formula that proved beyond all doubt that the square is in fact round.
Gee, I wonder why it took so long for them to make the discovery. Do you think it had something to do with getting money from the government?
Oh, yes, it did. And then the Fed sued the school for fraud.
Big deal. The money was gone, already spent. But the gravy train was good while it lasted.
At the taxpayer's expense. What a waste. I don't want this school to go that route.
We should follow the money trail. The government thinks that we're onto something big, then they will pay us big, as long as we can show them that we're making progress.
You know, Hyman, sometimes I think you would have done better as a racketeer than as a professor of English literature.
Both have their merits. A racketeer is out to make money fast, while an English professor writes a poem about it.
There's a lot more to English lit than writing poetry. Personally, I've never written a verse of poetry in my life. I couldn't rhyme 2 lines in a poem if the sentences ended in cat and bat.
If you can't write poetry, then how can you teach it?
My dear Diana, being able to do poetry is not the same as being able to teach it. Some of the greatest poets in history probably would have flunked my class.
But isn't the study of English literature about Inspiring creativity?
No, actually it does the opposite. It is so boring and dry that most of my students wind up falling asleep in class.
I think I slipped my way through half of my classes when I was a student. In my history and political science and archaeology classes, my brain automatically went on autopilot. Once, I keeled over and fell off my chair.
Well, how did you
It
do
was
in those
embarrassing.
How did you do in those classes?
Got straight A's.
If you slept your way through the classes, and how did you get straight A's?
By sleeping my way through those classes.
You mean you learn while sleeping?
Not exactly.
I think Diana is using the word sleep in another sense. Is that right?
Well, Professor, there is more than one meaning to the word, but I don't want to get caught up in semantics. Let's just say I was doing some research.
I still don't quite understand. Research on the relationship between sleeping and learning?
Actually, more on the relationship between sleeping and academic success.
What did you find?
I found that the more I slept, the better my grades,
Where did you conduct your research?
both on and off campus.
Must have been quite a project.
Oh, it was. I met a lot of interesting people,
Did that include members of the faculty?
especially members of the faculty. They were some of my closest colleagues and mentors.
Did you publish your findings?
I kept voluminous notes, but never published anything formal.
That's too bad, because I would have liked to have read your findings. I have a doctor friend of mine who treats sleep disorders. He believes that there's a definite correlation between the lack of sleep and onset of dementia.
My research had to do with sleep as a method of achieving social advancement. Maybe you can write a poem about it.
If you tell me more about it, maybe I will.
Diana, your academic exploits as a student are quite fascinating, and I'd love to hear more about it. But we have some more immediate and pressing matters to discuss.
Here we go again. Always the party pooper.
Business is business, as the saying goes, and we have business to discuss. So let's stop all this malarkey and get down to business.
Yes, let's get it down all the way, baby.
Oh, stop trying to be cute.
Hey, I like cute.
Me too. But Mr. Grumpy here won't have it. Loosen up. Have you considered throwing an office party? According to a $27 million research study, there's a direct correlation between office parties and creative activity. So, let's have a party.
I considered doing just that, but unfortunately it's something we cannot afford. Now, what about this talk about some discovery or a breakthrough?
I heard that the biomathematical department is onto something really exciting.
Biomath? Since when did they get their own department?
Beats me. One day I heard the school had a biomathematics department. But in a place like this, anything is possible.
Well, I'm going to look at this further. I can't have departments cropping up willy-nilly.
No, we can't. Who do they think we are anyways? Biomath? Where did they come up with such a stupid combination?
Yes, perhaps it does require further investigation. But in the meantime, let's at least go out for a snack. Or better yet, order in some food. After all, we are college professors, and college professors have to eat too. End of scene 3. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now have a brief intermission.